Hi, everybody. I'm here to talk to you about importing contacts, importing products, and importing openings in Deskera Books. So why do we have this? It's important to be able to import these items because you may have a large number of products or contacts, and creating them manually one by one is a real pain in the butt. So you want to be able to import them all as quickly as possible and make sure that they all look correct. And the best thing is that we also have an import log. So if some records do not get imported, you can see exactly what the error message is, and you can make the changes and import them correctly. So let's first go to Contacts. Let's click Import, and let's download the sample file. Inside here, you can see the import template. Now let's just expand it. And you can see the sequence code. So you can put in all the sequence numbers that you require, or you can just leave it blank, and our wonderful system will use the default number range. You can input the contact name. So let's think of it like Jack's monitors, for example. And we can say here, Henry's mics, I guess. We can select the currency here. We can input the email address. We can choose the receivable account and payable account. So this is where it's going to be posted. We can select the payment terms. We can input the billing address, billing country, billing state, billing city, postal code, shipping address, shipping county, shipping state, shipping city, shipping postal code, tax number, is it tax exempt, and tax exempt reason. So based upon your different statutory requirements, you'll have different types of import information here. Excuse me. So for example, if you're in the US, is tax exemption and tax exemption reason your tax code. You can think of it like if you're in Singapore, then you have your GST number. In Malaysia, you'll have your other information there as well. So each template is unique based upon which country it is, based upon your statutory compliance. After that, I'm going to save it. And I'm going to close this. Next, we're going to drop this file right inside here, or you can click Browse for it to be imported. Then we're going to click on Next. We're going to see all the data is mapped, and we can check if everything looks correct, and then we can click Next. And then inside here, we have an option. So import options, add a new record, updating existing records, add new, and update existing. So if you want to update your contacts, you can. Just make sure you input the correct sequence number. So for example, if I click update or hover over this is the option is chosen. Any new records will not be considered. Only the records present in the system will be compared, and then imported file records. So that's the key thing. So you can choose. I can also reject duplicates, import duplicates. I can reject the entire row, reject the invalid, but import the row, add the values in the dropdown. And the great thing about this is, for example, if I see something that's not correct here, for example, maybe, is it tax exemption? I can just change it here. I can just input, for example, false. And I can also apply it to the entire column. I can also remove the tax exemption. And then I can submit. Then you can see that it's been imported correctly. Then I can see Henry's mics. I can see my two contacts that have been imported. Yep, Henry's mics, Jack's monitors. All right, so let's go next to products. Let's click on import. And inside here, we'll have an option. So is this non-tracked or tracked products, or is it a BOM product or bill of materials? So you have to choose which one. So let's first start with tracked and non-tracked products. Let's download the sample file. All right. So inside here, I can see my different products. Again, we can input the sequence code. We can put in the product name. So for example, maybe see, a Minnie Mouse. And maybe, let's see, large monitor. Or actually, since this is non-track, let's do IT support. I can put in the descriptions. I can choose the purchase account, purchase price. Again, this is just default purchase price. You can always change it at the time of the transaction. So maybe $10. Let's say 25. The sales account, the sales price. Is it taxable? So this is where you can determine if it's taxable or not. Your unit of measurement. Excuse me. Opening quality, opening valuation. So if you don't have any, you can just make it 0. Your cost of goods sold account, inventory adjustment, primary warehouse, your purchase returns, sales returns, account. And then you just save it. So inside here, we can just click on the file and just drag and drop, or I can click browse here to import it. I click next. I can check and see if all the data looks correct. I can click next. Again, we can add record, update existing record, add new and update existing records. We can reject duplicates, import the duplicate rows, reject the entire row, reject the invalid value, but import the row, add the value in the dropdown. So we have all these options here. So I can see 2 invalid records. So I'm just going to scroll across and see why it's invalid. We don't have a primary warehouse. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to choose Austin Warehouse. I'm going to apply it to the entire column and I'm going to submit. So you can see the products have been uploaded successfully. You can see Minnie Mouse here, tracked. I can see IT support here. Since it's a non-track, there's no stock quantity. Next, let's go click on import. Next, we're going to select bill of materials products. We're going to download the sample file. All right, so you can see this template is somewhat different. So you have, for example, the product name, bill of materials, for example, laptop set, product description, unit of measurement, opening quantity if there is any, your cost of goods sold account name, inventory account, stock adjustment account, manufacturing account, and your warehouse. Excuse me. Now the key thing is your components here. So this is where you can input your components and your additional costs. So for example, labor charges, assembly costs, and all that, and the additional cost amount. And for the products, it's taken from the default or the cost of the product itself. And you can see the sales and accrued purchase account. All right, so we're just gonna go. So just like with the previous product, we're gonna drop the file right on in here, or again, you can click on browse to select it. Then we're gonna click next. We're gonna check if all the field information looks correct. Then we're gonna click next. And then we can see again, we can add new items, update existing records, add new and update existing records, reject duplicates, import duplicates, reject the entire row, reject the invalid value, but import the row, add the value in the dropdown. So inside here, you can see there's 2 invalid records. But if you scroll across, you may not see anything, okay? So inside here, of course, we have, to change this warehouse to Austin Warehouse. Apply to the entire column. Now everything looks good. But the key thing is I can click this button here and I can see the components. So this is component ID, and the component quantity, labor charges, and assembly. So if you see an error message, but you scroll across and you don't see anything, go to the components. That way you'll be able to see if there's any issues there as well. Then I'm going to click submit. So successfully import 2, rejected number of record 0. So I can see right there. I can see my TV set and my laptop set. If I click on it and I scroll down, I can see my bill of material details. So what does this come with? It comes with a keyboard and a mouse, or some labor charges and assembly costs. Next, let's go to accounting. And let's go to opening balances. So inside here, I can see all my different opening balances. I can update directly on the screen, but if you have a large amount of chart of accounts, that's quite painful. So to make it easy, let's just click on the import, download a sample file. All right, so inside here, you can see the Excel sheet, you can see the account code. So this is where you're gonna update and input all the account codes. Then you're gonna input the debit and credit amount. So for example, any exchange rate. And then I'm just gonna save this. And close this. Next, we're just gonna drop the file right on in here. And again, you can click Browse. We're gonna click Next. After that, we can see the debit amount, credit amount, account code, and exchange rate here. We can click Next. We can check and see if everything looks correct. If it does not look correct, I can actually just go and click on the screen and update it right here. So I don't have to re-import. I can just update it right here. I can confirm. So now it's been uploaded. That way I can go back to accounting, click on opening balances, and I should be able to see the updated amount here. The key thing is, though, you want to make sure your trial balance balances. If it doesn't balance, something went wrong. Next, let's click on inventory. And inside here, we can see our opening valuation and opening quantity. So you have two places to do this. When you import your products, we have opening valuation and opening quantity. And inside here, we have opening valuation and opening quantity. So you can do it at either locations. I would recommend to do it at product. That way you don't have to import twice, but I leave it up to you. So what is opening valuation? Opening valuation is the total amount of the product. So for example, if I go here and I type in, for example, 4, I type in the valuation as 200. What does this mean? It means that these 4 quantities is equal to $200. Each unit price would be 50 bucks. The reason why we do this is that you may have a lot of different pieces, and based upon how you bought them, they may not all have the same value price. So trying to do it based upon individual items or individual units, like unit price, is quite difficult, because not all the units that you bought may have been bought at the same price. So that's why we have the total here. That way it's imported correctly. So let's click on import. Let's download the sample file. Now inside here, you'll see the product code, the opening valuation, and the opening quantity. You will fill out all this information, and after it's filled in, you can save it and upload it. It's very important that you input the total amount of the opening quantity. It's not unit price, it's the total amount. So for example, let's make this 500. We can also make this maybe 100. And don't need so much quantity, maybe 10, 5, and 2, for example. So again, just to reiterate, this 2 pieces, or this 2 quantity, is equal to 100. So each piece would be worth roughly $50, to give you an example. I'm going to save this, close this, then I'm just going to go and drop in the file here. I'm going to click Next. Check and make sure everything looks correct. Click Next. And then inside here, if I see anything that's not correct, I can just update on the screen. For example, maybe it was not 500, maybe it was only $50, and I typed it in wrongly. So I can update it here. Then I can confirm. Next, I can go to accounting, go to opening balances, and go to inventory and see if everything's been updated correctly. So you can see the 100, 500, $50 here, and the opening quantity. Next, let's go to contacts. Inside here, this is where you can import your sales, invoices, and import your bills. So what is this? This is your openings. So more or less, after your book beginning date, everything before then is considered your openings. So inside here, these would be your opening invoices and opening bills that have not cleared yet, and you need to put it in the system because you've not received payment. So you need to update it here. So for example, if I import sales invoices, download sample file. So inside here, we can update the document number. So for example, maybe I want this to be for example. And also just update this as well. So this will be based upon how you originally recorded in your previous system. Because these are your opening transactions, your opening invoices, and you need to be able to reference them. Then you put in the sales invoice date, PO number, due date. The currency, is it USD or is it a foreign currency, and the exchange rate, tax amount, and total amount based on what's required. After that, I can just save it. All right, so inside here, we can now drag and drop the field. So for example, just drag and drop it in here. Click next. Make sure everything looks correct. I'm just checking. I can see contact code, sales invoice number, PO reference, due date, currency, exchange rate, my memo, my tax amount, and my document number. Then I'm going to click next. I'm going to check and make sure everything looks correct. If something does not look correct, I can update it on this screen itself. So for example, let's say I don't want SGD, I want USD. I can update it. I can update the exchange rate to just 1, and everything will be changed here accordingly. Then I just click confirm, and it's been successfully uploaded. Next we go to accounting. Inside here I can go back to opening balance. I can go to contacts, and I can just scroll down and I can see, for example, let's go to the next page, Austin Circuits. I can see now this one's been imported, my 121. Next, let's go to import, and we're going to import our bills. Download sample file. And inside here, we can see the document number. So again, I can just change this to whatever I had originally in my previous system. So that way I have reference of what this is related to. See the contact code, purchase invoice date, supplier, invoice number, due date, currency. Again, I can update it here. Update the memo, tax amount, and amount. Then I can save it and close it. And again, I can just drag and drop the file inside here. Click next. Make sure everything looks correct. Click next. Now, if everything looks correct here, I can just confirm, and it'll be imported. If you need to change anything, you can go here and change it directly on the screen. Yep, the file has now been imported successfully. So if I click here, Openings, click on Contacts, go to those contacts here, and open it up. I'll be able to see it here accordingly. And the good thing is, if you're coming from another system, you just have to download the information and just set it up in our template, and then you can immediately upload it. If you're coming from Excel-based, then you just have to fill in the Excel information there and then upload it. And you don't have to key in one by one by one by one, which can be very time-consuming. So, that was a quick look at how to import your contacts, your products, and your openings.